You can look, but you can't touch. You keep dreaming on the stars above.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today is a very special day for me. I'm really excited to talk about this book. I've been waiting for this book for a few years now. I was so excited to get it in my hands, and I'm really sad that I finished it. It's so good, and it's definitely one of my favorite reads that I've read this year. That would be Incomparable by Brie and Nikki Bella. If any of you know anything about me, you know I am a Bella Twins girl. I love my Bella Twins. If you saw in the beginning of the video, I tried to do Nikki's hip swivel. It didn't really work out. I think I looked really dorky. If you're unfamiliar with the Bella Twins, they were wrestlers in WWE, and they were kind of the first group of women that wanted to break down barriers. And unfortunately, they came a little bit later with the revolution than they wanted to, but they kicked down a lot of doors to get women to where they are now in wrestling. And it's to the point where women are just not seen as eye candy. They're powerful athletes who can do the same amount of work as the guys can. And these girls were such proponents for that. They wanted girls to get that extra time more than the guys and go out there and make really memorable matches. They're awesome in that way, but not only that, they're just really kick-ass business women. They've owned 4 businesses. They have 2 wine businesses, their lingerie clothing line, and their hair care products. It just shows like they know how to hustle and they know how to work. And I feel like for me, I fell in love with them because of who they are personally. Watching them on Total Divas and Total Bellas is just one side of the story, and in the book you get more of that story. There was just so much stuff I learned about the girls that I never knew happened, and it just made me feel like them bearing their soul and for them to let us into this world was really awesome. So I want to thank you girls for doing that and for talking about a lot of scary stuff that some people are afraid to talk about. In this book, they talk about pretty much their whole life story and where they're up to now. There's so many life lessons in here. There was stuff that made me laugh out loud. There was things in there that just made me feel really sad and emotional. There were things in there that just warmed my heart. It's just a really fun book to read. So even if you're not a wrestling fan, but you want to read a really kick-ass book with kick-ass women that can do everything pretty much, this is what you want to read, and it's such an inspirational read. I think with this book, one of my favorite parts in it is pretty much that it goes back and forth between both the girls. So you get different perspectives from the same situation, and it just flowed really nicely, which is awesome, because sometimes if it's a co-written memoir or autobiography, I feel like sometimes they can get a little bit messy with formatting, and I feel like with this one everything just flowed naturally, and it felt like I was like watching Total Bellas on the TV. It was really just awesome to dive into and get into, and I feel like every chapter it always hooks you in because you're like, ooh, I want to read more. I want to get to the next chapter, and then by the time you get to the next chapter, the book's over, which is kind of what happened with me. It's just like, oh, I don't want it to be over. I love this book. I feel like one of the hardest things for me to read about with it was, I want to say with Nikki, it was the sexual assault that she went through. So there is a trigger warning in there if sexual assault is one of the topics that they talk about in this book, and if that's a trigger for you, I would say read with caution, or just kind of stay away from it, or even if you're getting to that part, just kind of skip that if that's something too much for you to do. Love that Nikki just didn't take that and make herself a victim. She took it and she used it to kind of channel it into something good. It made me feel good because of my own personal experience with sexual assault, that someone else has been through that, and it was completely different than what Nikki experienced, but it's definitely something that I'm so thankful that she did put that in the book, and I feel like other women like me who look up to them, who have been in the same situation, they realize they're not alone. With the Bella Twins being as big as they are, it definitely made me see this can happen to anyone. Granted, it did happen before they got their fame, but it's still something that can mess with someone, and you just have to find the right tools to cope with it. Thank you, Nikki, for talking about your story. I don't know how hard that was for you to put in there, or if you felt like it was something easy, but I'm really happy that you did put that in there, because someone like me, where it's happened, helped me realize that it's okay to have that happen to you. It's just about how you pick up your pieces and move on. I was really thankful for that, so thank you, Nikki, for opening up about that. Hey guys, just editing the video, and I just wanted to pop in and say again that there is another trigger warning that I forgot to mention when I was doing the video. I don't know why this happens to me. I don't know why it seems like I forget about these things. I'm gonna have to start writing them down. But there is a trigger for addiction. Nikki and Bree's father was an addict. So if that's something too that is gonna trigger you, just try to stay away from that. It's mostly talking about their childhood is when the addiction happened. Their father is not an addict no more, thank goodness. I'm glad that he did that to get himself in a better place. But definitely that is another trigger warning that I wanted to mention. For Bree, I really think with her talking about Bear, when you read the chapter about Bear, it's a lot about grief and just loss and trying to process that. I've been through a lot of grief in my life. I've lost my mother when I was 10. I lost my dad when I was in my early 20s. And my grandma passed away a week later after my dad did. It's hard to go through that if you've never been through it before. Even if you've been through it before, it's still hard. And for me, it's still a process where I have my days where I'm okay, I'm having a good day, and then I have my days where I just keep thinking about them. For Bree to talk about losing someone that she was so close to, someone that she loved, and seeing that she uses this person still to this day in her life to guide her and help her. I really love that. I really just wanted to sit down with her and just talk to her about grief and talk to her about her process of healing. I love it that it doesn't always have to be sad. It can be happy. She took this experience she had with Bear and she channeled it into something that helps her with her success and helps her kind of weed through her decisions. I feel like sometimes I have that and then sometimes I don't. I feel like sometimes my parents are guiding me in directions in weird ways that I didn't even know was possible. I'm really happy that Bree did put that in because it really helped me understand that I'm not alone with grief. There's a lot of funny things that happen in this book too that I really enjoyed. Just a lot of their humor, and especially with Nikki, her humor and her wit. There were several instances where I'm reading the book and I'm just laughing out loud to myself because it's just the funniest thing that I've ever read, and it's really cool because it's the personality shines through the pages. I think that can be hard sometimes when you're writing a memoir and you're trying to get people to read it. I think they had someone help them with the writing, so whoever worked with them did a really good job just telling them to keep their humor in, and that was really cool because it made it feel less like they're reading their life story. It kind of was personal and they're interjecting themselves into it. I kind of want to get the audiobook and I kind of want to listen to it. It gives to see how they're talking about it and maybe see if there's any funny antics that happens. Another thing that I really enjoyed was that there is a chapter, one chapter, but there's also snippets where a famous Mr. Cena is mentioned, and I'm not going to make that about him, but I do love that he is in the book and they respect him so much that even to this day they still talk about him in a positive way, and that's really awesome that they can do that, especially with the situations that they've been through, especially Nikki. I love that they didn't want to make it about him. Some people don't understand why they would make the choice to not mention him by name. I think it's a smart idea because this is their story. This isn't about someone that Nikki used to date. Even with Bree's husband, Brian, it's not even about him. This is their story. This is them talking about things that they've went through, whether it be in the business or whether it be in their life. And I think that's how it should stay. I would not want to read a book where it's marketed as someone's life story and then turns around and finds out it's mostly about this one experience that happened. I really don't think there's really anything else that I really would change. It's a really good book. It kept me engaged from the beginning. I understand now why it took a few years to get it. I really suggest any woman go and pick it up. It is such a great read. You're going to feel empowered, You don't have to know anything about them either. You don't have to know that they were wrestlers. You don't have to know any of that terminology. They kind of explain a lot of the terminology in the book while you're reading. Just if you want that inspiration, if you're in a dark place right now, this is a book that you really need to read. It will get you out of that dark space. It will make you feel like you can do anything and feel invincible, because that's how I felt reading it. They just did a good job, and I'm so proud of them. This is one of my favorite books that I've read this year. It's going to go right on my shelf. I'm going to be reading it for years to come. And as you can see while I was reading, I have a lot of stickies. I just did some ASMR there. It's so engaging, and I hope if anyone else reads this, please let me know what you think. It's a really quick read too. Like I said, I read it in 2-3 days. You'll get through it really fast, but I feel like you'll learn a lot as you're reading, because every chapter there's something that you pick up out of it. For me, I think it's helped me gain a little bit more confidence in myself, especially with the time that we're going through right now. It can feel like a dark time, but with Nikki and Bree's help, I've been kind of looking towards the positive. Thank you girls again so much. I hope this review made sense. I hope you guys got something out of it. If you want to check out Nikki and Bree, their Twitter, I think, is at Bella Twins. Their Instagrams are separate. So Bree's is at the Bree Bella and Nikki's is at the Nikki Bella. They post a lot of pictures. Bree posts a lot with Birdie and Brian, but they also do a lot of, like, they talk a lot about their lives. I know Nikki kind of shares more of her life, more I think than Bree does, but you know what? It's okay. To each their own. Just because they're twins doesn't mean they need to be the same. Definitely, if you want a really great wine, if you can, grab Bella Radici. It's on Total Wines. It can't ship to my state. They can only ship accessories. But if you live in a different state, check it out. See if you can get yourself a bottle of wine. Bella Radici is awesome. They have a new wine label called Bonita, which I'm really sad I wasn't able to grab a bottle, but I'm really looking forward to getting another bottle and trying this wine. They also have their own leisure brand called Birdie Bee. Very comfortable clothing. I own several pieces. I love it. Prices are really good for what you get. Quality is great, and it definitely supports a mission for women. And they also have their hair care line, which I actually put in my Instagram story, and I love it. It is the best thing. I've put it in my hair. It's made my hair, as my boyfriend likes to say, feels like real hair. So it's made my hair healthier. It's definitely a really great product to use no matter what your hair quality is and what your texture is. Hey guys, editing Cassie here again, and I forgot to mention that the Bellas also have a podcast. It is called The Bellas Podcast. Just go into any podcasting app that you have and type in The Bellas Podcast, and it is so funny. They talk about different topics. I haven't listened to it in a little bit just because I haven't really caught up on my podcasts. I know, really bad. But they used to do a segment called Bella Brains, where it's like a game show where they have Brian quiz them. It's just really fun. It's just something that I love to listen to, especially like when I'm going to work, especially when I'm not working right now, but just going to work or just even out and about. It's such a good listen. So definitely give that a listen to. I would say it's kind of like a continuation of the book pretty much. But yeah, go and check out the Bellas Podcast as well. Well, I guess I better mention where you can pick up the book, right? Incomparable. It's by Bree and Nikki Bella. You can pick up the book at any bookstore. You can order it online at any place that sells books, as well as any of your devices with their bookstore that is on there for your Kindle, your iPhone, tablet, anything like that. So definitely check it out. It is such a good read. Other than that, I will see you guys later. Bye.